In this lesson, I'd like to show you how to make a panorama. Here in Photoshop, I'm going to go to the File menu at the top of the screen, go down to Automate, and choose Photo Merge. When the Photo Merge box appears, I recommend leaving the layout set to Auto, although you can experiment with these on your own to see how they look. For source files, well, this is where we have to go find the files that we'd like to use to make our vignette. So I'm going to click Browse. I have 3 pictures here that I'd like to use. I'm going to click Open. It's a good idea if you photograph your images from left to right so that the numbers will be in the right sequence. That'll make it easier for Photoshop. If you use a wide-angle lens, make sure you click Vignette Removal. In this case I didn't. And also geometric distortion correction may be necessary if you used a wide-angle lens. But I recommend using the default settings at first because usually Photoshop can figure all this out and do a really great job. So I'm going to click OK on this. And while we're waiting for Photoshop to finish this up, I'd like to give you a couple tips on photographing your images so that you'll get the best results. First of all, use a tripod. Make sure your tripod's nice and level so that you get a nice even pan as you're going across the horizon. Also, make sure that your images overlap by at least a quarter. I usually try and get at least a third myself. That gives Photoshop more to work with where they overlap. Before you shoot your images, I recommend using manual mode so that your exposure doesn't change from one photograph to the next, and I also recommend turning off your white balance. That way all your images will be consistent all the way across and you won't get any kind of banding or any darker areas where the sky overlaps. Alright, well here we go. We've got our image. Looks really nice. All we have to do now is use our cropping tool and crop this down to get rid of all this extraneous stuff around the edges. So I've clicked with my cropping tool and press enter on the keyboard, and it's just that easy. If you use my tips when you're photographing, Photoshop will do a great job and you won't have to do any retouching most of the time. So go out and give it a try.